Welcome back to SolarKing. Today I'm going to talk a bit about power companies, the ins and outs of power companies. And this is quite critical when you've made the decision to go with solar power. As you know, there's a lot of options now in power companies. Some support solar, some don't. The ones that support solar generally are all pretty good. Meridian, as you probably know, are a good supporter of solar. Meridian Power will credit you 7 cents for your solar exports in the summer and 10 cents in winter. Then there's companies like Ecotricity, new boys on the block. You've heard about them before, I've covered them. And of course there's your Contacts and the Mercuries and all of the other companies involved. Now some power companies, there's only a few left now, companies like Nova for instance, at this stage still grey power, don't support solar power. In other words, they won't credit you anything for any exported power. So you do need to choose your power company quite carefully when you get into solar power. One of the things with power companies, Contact you have to be aware of. Contact is a good power company and they credit you for your solar power. But Contact doesn't have the accounting package that allows them to directly credit you for your exports off your bill. Now, so what happens with Contact is that you have to track your exported power, and once in a few months maybe, when you've got a worthwhile value of exported power, you invoice Contact and they'll pay that money into your account. Now this is quite important to know because if you're not aware of this and you're with Contact, when you get your power bill, it's not reflecting the true benefit of your solar power if you've been exporting a fair amount of power. Now, as we've covered in the past, we design our systems so that you shouldn't export too much power. The benefit of solar is to generate it, to use it in the home, not to sell it back to the power companies. So we've talked about that in the past, and I think we all know that exporting really isn't what we're there to do. So one of the things I want you to do, once you've chosen your power company, once you've got your solar installed and you're starting to get your invoices through, there's a few things that I'd like you to check. Now, customers quite often call us after their first 1 or 2 invoices from the power company, and there is a small amount of confusion out there about these invoices. Something to look for, typically when we get an invoice and we're having a look at it, often it's got an estimated reading. So they might have done an actual and then an estimate and then an actual and then an estimate. This is because there is still a legacy of old meters out there, even the smart meters, that are actually dumb smart meters. So there's been smart meters go in that do track the export and the import of your power, but that don't have a communications card. So what happens is that the power company still has to read that meter. Now, if you've got one of these meters, this is what you're going to find, is you're going to get a bill and you're going to go, wow, what's going on this month? You'll have a look at it and you'll see that it's actually got an estimated amount on it. Now, surprisingly enough, when a power company estimates your bill, normally they tend to estimate on the high side. I haven't seen many bills where somebody's got a pleasant surprise and the power company's estimated that you owe them a lot less money than you thought you would. So have a look at the bill when it comes in. If it seems to be high, go and read the meter yourself and see what the meter says and if it tallies with their estimate. That's one good thing to look at when you get that bill. The other thing that I want you to have a look at when you get your power bill, have a look at exports. Now, as I've said, we don't want you to export too much power. So if on your power account you can see quite a high degree of exports, get in touch with us. There's things we can do if you're exporting power. We've talked in the past about how best to use your power, and there's the video in the series, Making the Most of Your Solar Power, you can watch, that'll help out there. But things we can do, we've spoken in the past, we've spoken in the past about diverters. We have a new version of the immersion diverter here. Now, this is the same as the Unison that I've talked about in the past, except it's made in the UK, not in Christchurch, so it's the English version of the Unison. So what this unit does is it diverts your exported solar power straight to your hot water cylinder. So instead of sending it back to the power company for 7 or 8 cents a kilowatt hour, it goes into your hot water cylinder, and really what you've done is you've turned your hot water cylinder into a battery. Now we've got a special deal from the UK at the moment, and we can supply those immersion units for $690, which is actually, when you consider the benefits, that's a great investment. Now you will have to pay to get it installed, and depending on where your hot water is, where your meter is, it could take an hour to 3 hours for an electrician to install it. So it might cost $60 to $180, somewhere in that, for your installation. But at $690 for the unit, get in touch, and if you think you're exporting and one of these will help, we'll talk you through the benefits. The other things we've talked about, have a look at that video again, making the most of your power, using your power during the day, turning on your heat pumps in the late morning, not at night, all of those things. So check your bill, make sure that you're not exporting too much power. The other thing to be careful to look at, for a lot of our clients, the solar generation enables us to get our clients' usage down to below 22 kilowatt hours total a day. Now, that equates to 8,000 kilowatt hours a year. Any home in New Zealand that uses less than 8,000 kilowatt hours a year is entitled to a low user tariff. Now, under a low user tariff, your daily lines fee is only 33 cents. You'll have a look at your bill. I've seen people paying up to $2 a day for their lines fee, $60 a month, when they could have been paying $12. That's a very important thing to check. What is the tariff that you're on? Now, power companies, to me, they're a lot like the cell phone company that rings you and says, "Hello, Mr. Maddox, we're ringing from Vodafone to tell you that you're on the perfect plan." Generally, they mean the perfect plan for them. So have a look at what plan they've got you on. If you're paying $2 a day for lines fee, we could possibly cut that down to 33 cents. So that's an important thing to look at. So the power companies, those are some of the aspects. Sometimes the other thing that happens is that we'll get clients who ring us up and they'll go, "We're not getting the full benefit of our solar. What's going on with our power? We're not seeing a benefit." Now, when this happens, the first things that I ask people to do, and this is important, if you want to see the real benefit you're getting out of your solar, you can go to your solar inverter, push the little button and have a look at the readout on it, or if it's an N-phase system, microinverters, you can go to your monitoring system, have a look at the total kilowatt hours that your system has made. You can simply multiply that by your retail value that you're paying for power, and that gives you your benefit. So that's one way to track the benefit that you're making from your solar. I hate to say that some people, their power bill doesn't reduce as much as they would like to see and we would like to see when they put solar in. And generally that's because they've got solar in, so they go, "Yay, solar," and they use more power. So they turn things on, they use the heat pump more, and they actually get a bit more relaxed about their power use. So they're getting more power for the same amount of money. So be aware of that as well. We can generate as much power for you as you need to offset the use in your home during daylight hours. But what we can't do is control how you use it. So use it during the day, still be aware that power is still costing money, and just be smart with it, and we can all save a lot of money on that power bill. So that's power companies at the moment in a nutshell. The other thing I guess I should touch on, a lot of people have been speaking to me and going, "Oh, the power companies, the lines companies are going to charge us all this money." There was a big fuss in the newspaper last month when Unison in the central North Island here brought in a small daily fee to penalise those people who have been so cheeky as to put in solar power and take money off them. Now, that's blatantly terrible business practice. I doubt whether other lines companies are going to do it. There's no word at this stage that it's going to become something that they all do. So I think it was a storm in a teacup. It amounted to less than $20 a month that they're charging people with solar. If you've got a decent solar system that's saving you $120 a month, then I suppose we can't begrudge them their 20, although we do. So let's put that one to bed and say, storm in a teacup, I wouldn't be overly concerned about it. So that's it at the moment on the ins and outs, what's going on with power companies. More and more companies, as you know, are getting actually used to us and they're supporting solar. So they're not the enemy that they once were. So let's all be nice to our power companies, but check you with the right one. And if you've got any questions, give us a call at SolarKing. Any one of our team can talk to you about power companies and give you a hand making the most of your solar power. Thanks, we'll see you next time.